In this lesson, we will utilize the styling and simulation tools to improve the look of 3 example garments. For the first example, let's look at a simple legging. Before we begin improving the simulation, let's first identify the simulation issues on this garment. As we can see, the fabric draped around the crotch area is not representative of the actual fit as the waist is dressed too high. The lower part of the leggings are colliding with the avatar. Lastly, there is some collision or twisting on the back of the waistband. Remember, it is good practice to always try to figure out the root cause of any simulation issue. We can check the Arrange and Prepare mode first. The legging patterns are placed into the front and back leg clusters. This is not optimal for pant styles. The stitches are cutting through the avatar, and this could be the cause of the collision at the bottom leg. We can fix this by removing the patterns from their existing clusters and place them into the side leg. When we use the side leg cluster, the patterns wrap around the legs much better in Prepare mode. The waistband pattern is also positioned too high, which may have caused the leggings to hike up and bunch around the crotch area. We can lower the waistband position. Let's dress to see the results. It's looking much better, but the back waistband is still having a simulation issue. First, we can try to pinch to see if it can be resolved. It seems that pinching isn't helping, so next we'll check the stitching to see if there are any issues. The stitch on the back waistband is flipped. We can flip the stitch and dress. Looks great! The next example garment is a hoodie. From the snapshot, we can see some existing issues. The avatar's thumbs are cutting through the sleeves. The hood is not sitting nicely, and the rib hem was not stitched and is dropped to the floor. Instead of redressing the entire garment, we can uncheck Use in 3D to remove the sleeves from the simulation, then enable again by rechecking Use in 3D. This resets the pattern in their prepare position, allowing us to check if the patterns were arranged correctly. The sleeves are cutting into the hands in prepare mode. Let's fix this by enabling constrained area on the sleeve clusters. Our next step is the hood. We would like the hood to be draped over the head. Instead of using pinch and other styling tools, we can disable and enable Use in 3D for the hood patterns. It seems the hood is prepared flat on the back of the head. We can check Arrange mode to see if it is placed in the correct cluster. The cluster is correct. However, in the context view, the cluster wrap type selected is flat. Click on the drop-down and change to Hood. Let's dress to see the results. We can apply styling to the hood opening. Lastly, the rib hem. We can use the same method to reset the prepare position for this pattern. The rest of the garment already looks great. Before we enable Use in 3D again, we can turn on Auto Lock to ensure the rest of the garment does not participate in the simulation when we add the rib hem. Now enable Use in 3D. The rib pattern position is not optimal. Let's adjust the position and stitch it to the bodice patterns. In the 2D window, there is a pocket pattern that has not been added to the garment. Let's add that as well. Click on the pocket and enable Use in 3D. The pattern is still not appearing in the 3D window. Let's check to see if it has been arranged. The pattern has not been arranged. This is why it didn't appear in the 3D window when we enabled Use in 3D. To complete this garment, we can unlock the bodice to simulate nicely with the pocket and rib. Allow the garment to simulate for a few seconds, and then we're finished. For the final example garment, we will improve the simulation of this dress. There seems to be a lot of collision around the skirt and sleeve patterns. Let's try to identify why this is happening. We can check the Prepare and Arrange mode to start. The prepared position looks okay, except that the stitches for the skirt patterns are cutting into the avatar's hip. To fix this, we can utilize the cluster scaling option to scale the patterns larger along the x-axis. It's okay if the stitches are slightly cutting into the avatar. Let's dress to see the results. It looks like the sleeve patterns are colliding with the skirt patterns. Since the skirt has a lot of fullness and the patterns are very wide, the movement of the avatar's arm during the simulation process can cause this issue. The avatar's arms move down faster than the skirt fabric drapes, causing collision between the two. To fix this, we can utilize the Freeze Pose option. We can return to Prepare mode. Before clicking Dress, we can enable Freeze Pose. We will allow the skirt pattern to drape first before disabling this option. These patterns are not using the default grid size. To increase the speed of the simulation, turn on Fast mode. We have another problem here. The two skirt layers are colliding with one another. Let's check the 3D layers of the skirt patterns to ensure they are correct. The front skirt pattern is not on the correct layer. We will adjust the layer so the cloth collision improves. Instead of dressing and pinching the skirt patterns to the correct position, we can reset the pattern using the Use in 3D option. Once the skirt looks okay, we will disable the freeze pose option and turn off fast mode. Some minor styling with the pinch tool. And we are done. In this lesson, you have learned how to mix and match styling and simulation tools to achieve optimal garment simulation. Remember, there are multiple methods to improve the styling and simulation of your garments. It takes practice to familiarize yourself with these tools and workflows. For more information, visit support.browseware.com.